AEW Fight Forever as of day one of release is not worth $60. It feels like a fun game, but at the same time, empty, like so much is missing. I understand that they plan on updating the game as time goes on, but let's be honest, this just feels empty. There's certain areas of the game where it seems like so much attention to detail is put in, and others where it seems like they purposely left stuff out to add in later. AEW Fight Forever is a game I was so excited and hyped for, and it's kind of wild that I feel like I've done pretty much everything there is to do just a couple hours in. The gameplay itself is fun to me, and the controls were something that I was able to pick up and learn in like an hour. I love the fact that THQ brought back the left and right triggers for blocking, grapples, and hits respectively. It adds an extra level of challenge to the game, since you can't just press the same button over and over to block moves super easy. I also love the idea of having a bunch of signatures and finishers. Smaller wrestlers have problems picking up bigger ones, and that level of detail and accuracy in the game is appreciated. The roster is also pretty impressive, since I expected them to keep it pretty minimal in order to add people later. I also love the ability to have intergender matches. That's something we haven't seen in a very long time, and we haven't been able to do in years, and something that I really missed in any of my wrestling games. A big problem that I had with the gameplay was the difficulty. The problem was that even with the settings turned on to hard mode, it seemed a little too easy. I'm still working on unlocking elite difficulty, or at least based on Google, elite difficulty exists, so it's possible that will make the gameplay more challenging for me. Speaking of gameplay, it feels great. I love the arcade style feeling of fighting, but at the same time it also feels like big moves have a lot of impact, which is amazing. The weapon selection is massive, and I don't even think I found all the weapons while playing since there are so many. Plus, you can grab weapons from things like out of the crowd, including under the ring, obviously. I wish there was a way to select specific weapons under the ring, so I wouldn't have to keep searching again and again for a specific one. That was kind of annoying. But the weapons themselves feel really fun to use, and there was such a crazy variety from explosives to thumbtacks, the ability to throw your opponents on barricades, ring steps, on top of ladders, through the screen, and so much more. Another problem I had with some of the weapons was that I only got 2 hits out of them, and then whoever I was using at the time would just drop the weapon, and the weapon would just disappear. It didn't make sense for a lot of weapons. Like, you'd think I'd be able to get more than 2 hits out of things like bats? For one thing I absolutely loved though was when I hit somebody with a weapon, blood would smear the ring and they'd be bleeding all over their body. This was such a refreshing change from the WWE 2K series, and it really helped give me the impression that a lot of damage was being done, regardless of match type. Speaking of match types, there aren't a lot of them, and this was a big problem for me. My friend and I pretty much went through every match time in an hour-and-a-half live stream. There was one amazing and innovative match that I've never experienced before in the form of an exploding barbed wire death match, and that was so fun. But on the flip side, there weren't really that many match types. Even within those match types, there really wasn't anything to do or any way to change them up. For example, the ladder match was only a one-on-one. We couldn't do a 3-way ladder match or a 4-way ladder match, and situations like this just made the game feel extremely limiting. I couldn't help but be disappointed since they didn't include some dope match types like Stadium Stampede, Blood and Guts, and more. We went through pretty much all of the matches and we were like, damn, that's it? There's also a handful of stages in this game, but a lot of them look similar, if not the same, so there really wasn't a lot of excitement of seeing new stages, and maybe each stage having a cool, unique, breakable prop or something like that. It would really set other stages apart to have something unique about each stage, both in the looks and gameplay department. The gameplay is really fun, and this is something I hope they build on and include the ability to customize matches and bring more and more match types in, slowly but surely. This does have great potential, and I hope we get this sooner than later. Another thing I liked was the shop. I could use all the money I made from playing matches to buy things like attires, entrances, and even Cody Rhodes. The best part is no microtransactions. I made plenty of money from my matches, and it didn't all feel like they were trying to incentivize me to do anything except have fun. There are also some mini games that I played through like once each just to see what they were like. They were fun in my opinion on a one-time try, but I'm not really playing a wrestling game for the mini games, so I didn't play them very long. The Road to Elite mode for AEW Fight Forever is definitely an interesting one. I really like the fact that you can use an actual wrestler, male or female, instead of being forced to use a created wrestler. Speaking of creating wrestlers, if you're like me and you love the ability to make detailed creations and share them online with the community and WWE 2K23, you will definitely be disappointed here. There just needs to be so many more options and the ability to actually alter the wrestler's structure. As someone who spends hours in the creation suite of the WWE 2K games, I would love to be able to see detailed creations in AEW Fight Forever. But back to the story mode. I think it's interesting that you can do things like travel across the country for shows, go to the gym, have signings, and eat out, among other things. It does a pretty good job of putting you in the shoes of a professional wrestler on the road, and it does add something extra to the Road to Elite experience. I used MJF, and once in a while, when doing these activities, I'd run into people to talk to. Needless to say, MJF was a total dick to most of them, like I'd expect him to. So far, I'm still on my first playthrough of the Road to Elite mode, so please let me know if everybody does this, but it does seem very specific to MJF. Whenever MJF insulted a fan in the story mode, it made me laugh so hard, because it just seemed like a dick, and it seemed like him. In the beginning of the story mode, I went through a similar experience to most people. I got in a tag team with someone who was stealing my luggage, and it just seemed to happen so fast. Then after that, I got involved with Brody Lee and his gang of degenerates, and it just seemed like my tag team storyline was dropped. Mind you, I'm still in the middle of this part, but multiple weeks have gone by, and there hasn't really been a follow-up to me kicking my tag team partner in the face. Hell, Brody Lee kidnapped me, had nothing from my partner. No phones or messages to check up on me, or him cutting promos saying it was good I'm missing. Throughout all of this, there was really only one instance where I was able to say yes or no. It would be best if we could make our own decisions about teaming up with someone or helping them or screwing them over as much as possible. Those decisions should then shape the story we go through. Also, in pretty much all of my matches, I found them to be way too short. I just do a couple of grapples or keep hitting my opponent with weapons until my signature was ready, then I'd hit a couple of those until I decided to use a finisher. It started to lose its charm pretty quickly for me. Don't get me wrong, I understand the arcade style of games is usually faster, which I enjoy. But when you start quickly winning in pretty much the same way week after week, it can kind of get stale. Because I only have limited experience with this mode, I did watch other people play for some research, and the stories definitely seem like they get more and more interesting as the game goes on. So I'll most likely be continuing to play through the game and see if my opinion on certain things changes. However, I do know that the story mode is pretty short, and I definitely like to have a longer experience. Overall, while the gameplay itself is fun, it seems like so much attention is given to certain things like weapon and gore. And on the other hand, it seems like so much is missing from the game, and it just feels like the developing company was like, who cares, we can just add it in later. I wish we were given more at launch so that this good game could become great. Of course, whether or not this happens is something that we'll have to wait on in future updates and see, but as of right now, I would definitely say this game is not worth $60. So how do you feel about this game? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Please let me know in the comments below. And if my voice is a little off today, I apologize. I am recording on a sore throat. And of course, if you made it this far, thank you for listening to an idiot rant. Please consider subscribing to support the channel. Also, if you have time, I usually live stream on weekdays around 8:30 p.m. Pacific time and weekends whenever I wake up and pull myself together. The schedule can sometimes change based on if I'm working on a video like this one, as it does take some time to put together. Also, consider these videos if you like my work, and thank you for your time. Plot Armor Games, out.